So here we are again. Another year, another first round exit for the Portland Trailblazers. This time, them being eliminated to my different Nuggets, who are fucking injured. Jamal Murray out, Will Barton out, and PJ Dozier out. And instead of trying to run it back like they have done for every single year, this offseason it might end up differently. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how the Portland Trailblazers had a disappointing end to the season, all the trade rumors with Damian Lillard and McCollum, them getting a new coach in Chauncey Billups, and try to see what happens next for this Trailblazers team. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. And check out my last video I did on another disappointing team, 76ers, and why Ben Simmons isn't all to blame for their disappointing end. So with all the intro shit out of the way, let's get right on the topic of this video. So to basically recap everything that happened to the Portland Trailblazers during the season, is that during the offseason last year, they got some pretty good key pieces to their team, like Robert Covington, who's a very good 3-and-D player, who they traded for the Houston Rockets. They were able to re-sign Carmelo Anthony, who is a great scoring option from their bench, and were able to sign guys like Derrick Jones Jr., who obviously is a great dunker, but also a great wing defender as well. Based off of their offseason acquisitions that they had, everyone thought that they were going to have a very good year and that they were going to be dangerous. Everyone had very good high expectations for this Portland Trailblazers team. In reality, however, during the entire season, it was just a struggle for them to click together. Dame would have to carry them constantly because CJ McCollum would suffer like a fracture in his foot, and that took him out for a major part of the regular season, which obviously caused Dame to have literally carry these motherfuckers. They wanted to just keep him in the playoffs or keep him out of the play-in. So while Dame was playing like an MVP candidate, when it came to the trade deadline, they made an unusual trade which involved Gary Trent Jr. and Norman Powell, where they traded away Gary Trent Jr. to the Raptors and they got back Norman Powell. When that trade happened, everyone was kind of confused why they did it, because it didn't seem like an upgrade at all. You know, Norman Powell is overall a better player than Gary Trent Jr., but Gary Trent Jr. is a better catch and shoot player. He's bigger. He's like 6'6", while Norman Powell is 6'4". You obviously downgrade in height and lose a bit of defense when you get Norman Powell. Gary Trent Jr. is younger than Norman Powell. And while Gary Trent Jr. is a restricted free agent, where they were able to see what kind of market was for him before trying to see if they wanted to re-sign him, Norman Powell is an unrestricted free agent this season. So that means that if he doesn't want to return to the Portland Trailblazers after this season, he can just fucking leave and to get more money, which he probably will get from another team, get into a better situation, which I would think there are better situations to be in than the Portland Trailblazers. So he can just fucking leave if he doesn't want to re-sign with the Blazers. Unlike Gary Trent Jr., who is a restricted free agent, like I said. So overall, that trade to get Norman Powell was overall an L. It did not help him team at all. Downgraded in defense. And if you think of it, and when they became healthy and CJ McCollum came back into the lineup, they were ass on the defensive side as well. I mean, if you think about it, the backcourt between Dame and CJ, it's already bad itself. In terms of defensive wise, you have two short ass guards, don't provide any defensive capabilities at all. And when you put Norman Powell at the 3, who's 6'4", their defense got worse compared to if they had Gary Trent Jr. at the 3, who is bigger obviously, and able to guard more players. And that showed during the playoffs when they played against my Denver Nuggets, who, like I said, was injured as hell. Didn't have their second guy in Jamal. Didn't have Will Barton, who's a good 2 guard. And didn't have PJ Dozier, who was a backup for us, who was playing really good. So going into the series, everyone thought that it would be easy series for the Blazers to win since they're facing an injured ass Nuggets team. But no, they end up losing this series in 6. Game 5, Damian Lillard really had one of the best playoff performances I ever seen. I was shook at what he was doing to my Nuggets. Literally hit 2 game-tying shots. The man literally put up 55 fucking points in a losing effort because his teammates did not show up at all. Robert Covington couldn't dunk a fucking ball. Norman Powell couldn't hit a catch and shoot 3. CJ McCollum disappeared and ended up costing the Blazers by a pretty much dagger turnover by stepping out of bounds in late game. So pretty much they didn't live up to expectations that they had before coming into this season. And they get another first round exit like they did last year. So now that we're in present day, there has been discussions about potentially trading CJ McCollum for another player, because he's a very good player, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have that much trade value that I would think would shift this Blazers roster. Obviously, there's been discussions about trading CJ for Ben Simmons, but we don't know if the 76ers are committed to trade him, since there's been reports that they want to put his ass in his gym and try to get him better and work out more, which would lead to potentially trading Damian Lillard, who obviously has a bunch of trade value. We'll get a whole bunch of picks, a couple young players as well. This is pretty much the same situation that happened to OKC a couple years ago, where they lost in the first round to the Blazers with Russ and PG, and they traded both of them players away for a whole bunch of picks and a whole bunch of young players in return to finally get a good start in trying to rebuild. And as we see right now, it's starting to work with them having a whole lot of picks, having a guy like SGA to build around, and a whole bunch of young players that they can help develop. If I was a GM, I would personally go in that direction, because right now, how this roster is built, they cannot go deep in the playoffs. They have shown that a whole bunch of times. Even next year, with a whole bunch of teams like the Lakers, my Nuggets, the Clippers, the Jazz, the Suns, whole bunch of teams getting better, getting healthier, and getting stronger in the West. I don't know if this Blazers team can keep up with them. And obviously, they got a new coach in Chauncey Billups, who was the Clippers assistant coach and obviously one of the top point guards that ever play in the NBA. He has never been a coach before. We have never seen what he can do coaching wise as a head coach. And I know that coaching does play a role with how a team plays, but it doesn't just magically solve all the problems. The problems is with the roster. And by just looking at this roster, I don't believe this team can go far. So personally, I do believe that they should pull the plug. They should go through the route that OKC did, that Houston did by trading James Harden. Just get rid of everyone. Trade them to places that you get a whole bunch of picks from, go a good young player to build around, and a whole bunch of young players that you can develop. Try to do it again and rebuild. It has shown that this team is not dangerous. They're not a threat. They can win one game in the playoffs, but that's it. They're not top dogs of the Western Conference. They're not threatening. They're not dangerous. I think they have really hit their ceiling with this roster. We'll see what they do with Damian Lillard, with CJ McCollum, if they intend to keep the same roster like they always fucking do, or just try to blow it up, or trade one of the two pieces. So that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, hope y'all have a good rest of your day, and I'm out. Peace out, y'all.